Driving through the Arizona desert to find the history of an old ghost town we've been wanting to visit for some time. And a fantastic story about the history of a hanging tree.
Welcome everyone to Weekend Escapades. Today we have found our way to Arizona. And we are just outside of Wickenburg, Arizona, up Vulture City Road to the Vulture City Mine Ghost Town. Okay, so we're going to start our tour here in Vulture City at the powerhouse, which is right behind me. But as you can see off to the left, look at the size of that. And not the generator, but the Cactus. Now we've been wanting to get to Vulture City for quite some time, and it is a comfortable 65 to 70 degrees depending when the wind blows. That would definitely generate a lot of power. Look at this old truck. It says Kelly on it. And I've never seen one like this, but see the wooden wheels on there? The seat's still intact. Unless they've reupholstered that. That's pretty amazing. What's left of the steering wheel? Not much. You can imagine what you had to do to drive that. You can see the handbrakes and how you had to put it in gear, and even a bigger wooden wheel on the back. You can see here, this is where they kept some of the equipment and tools and things to work on those generators. This is a great example of an early building or shelter that they would have here in the mining community. As you can see there, they've got an old engine block on a chain. So I guess they're grills of an International. Some old pistons and batteries and things there. Some signage. I don't know how old the building is or if they've just remade it, but it definitely has the old wood and the old feel of an old garage. I'll back out here and you can take a good look at it and get some sunshine right in the lens.
Let's step back a minute. Talk about the history. The Vulture mine began in 1863 when Henry Wickenburg, a prospector from California's gold rush, discovered a quartz outcropping containing gold. Shortly after the mine was established, a small mining town was developed. And this is it. So here in Arizona, there was no Phoenix, Flagstaff, or Prescott. Most of the population was Mexican, and most were in Tucson. Indian tribes abounded, with the notorious Apaches creating the most fear. Roads were basically non-existent. As the earliest gold gathering in California began to play out, miners began to find their way to Arizona.
Now this is the gas station from the 1900s. Now this station provided fuel for not only the vehicles that are here, but also for the lighting that's in the gravity-fed pump, or what's left of one out here. You can see there to the left. Beverage signs there from Sundrop. It's refreshing as a cup of coffee. You see the sign there, it says gas station right in front. And it is full of antiques. Old jacks. Some fluid cans. Hey, skeleton hiding up there. It's so funny when you see the old cans for oil and things like that. You don't see a lot of them. I remember STP, that was really popular. I haven't heard of that in a while. It probably still exists, but I just don't hear of it. But a lot of the old oil cans and things are oil that I've never heard of. And maybe they just merged with other companies now. There's a cash register for you. Wood's all warping down below. Look at all the keys on that. Letters and numbers. If you're going to do business, there's the desk for you right there. And of course, the bathroom. The old gas station right here in Vulture City. Look at this old guy here. So teeny. It says Farmall? Farmall. I could hardly see it. Farmall. There you go. There's the hood ornament right there. Got a little fuel can on the back. Carry the fuel around. If anybody knows any history on this type of a vehicle or have seen one before, leave a comment for sure. I know a lot of you know about these things. I love to hear about them and see those comments. But that is one interesting little vehicle. It almost looks like a toy. There's the front end of something. It looks like a Model T. They got the doors open and displayed. It's just like the dashboard and the doors of it. Every time I walk by here, I take a look at it. Look at the thorns on that thing. Well, this is competition rock here. Now, this held competitions where the drillers, the miners, would drill to see who had the best drilling skills. And it was also used to see what their skills were before they hired them. And those are all hand drills that are in these rocks. And that's what they did. Hand drills. So this is the pump house. And what they did was they moved this down here in 2019. Now this provided all of the water and pumped all the water necessary here in Vulture. You can see some more of the hand drills here. Tremendous amount of those. And also you can see the way that they use the water and pressure. There's the drill, shows there. It's awesome, looks like some kind of a weapon. It shows a little bit of the ore cars and how they were loaded and how they hauled. It dumped them in from I guess that would be an ore carrier with the chain attached to it. Dumped it into the ore cars and ore buckets. A picture from the operation. A few little illustrations there. The lighting that they would use, different types. That one looks like it dates back a little further than the others. And you can see there, we did a video before on the miners' lights. You can see there how they used to strike those and light them and put them on their hats. And to be able to use those, because they smoked a little bit, they would write on the scribes in the mines the levels and things that they were working on. Hard to see that one, there you go. And there's an example of how it worked on the miner's cap. So this here, the carbide light, the carbide lamp I should say, and that's an original one there. And again, how it attached to the hats. Of course, these are drill core samples to find out what was in the rock or the soil. You can see there's a tremendous amount of samples that came here out of Vulture City, different sizes. You see these are a lot larger here. Let's head back out and see if we can find another building. You see most of these ghost towns that we go to, you can see there's old fenders and parts of cars laying around. There's just so much to look at under bushes, and you know, around the corner you can miss so much. Okay, so these are separators, and what separators did was separate the ore, the worthless ore, from the good ore. And that's what I'm looking at here. So gosh, when you look at how this was put together with the old bolts, huge bolts and wood, some kind of a big spool. So it's a concentrator for ore. It lets us know if you're, and let us know if you recognize it. There's a little picture of it there, but that's what it says it is. It's a separator for good ore from bad ore, I guess. And then this looks like a settling tank of some sort, all made out of wood. That is some crazy construction and how they figured out how to use these things. Drill bits and pieces of equipment laying here that people used. You can see the handle there. Turn that, whatever that was. Again, somebody used every one of these to go to work every day and get the gold out of the mines. Now this is the last house of the mine manager, Ernest Dickey. Now this was built in the 1800s. And you can see that it is also surrounded by a tremendous amount of iron left over in the area with a giant hook. You can see over here some ornate metal. Well, that looks like a bunch of grapes. Potbelly stoves and tools is what we've got. Some old eating utensils and fans hanging up here. This place is just full of old antiques hanging on the porch. We haven't even gone inside yet. When you come inside the residence, there's it's like a little museum. The old phonograph with records, sewing machine, and a metal Vulture. That phone's not that old. Still plays. No shortage of bottles. So this is in the one of the back rooms. I wonder what this would have been. Almost looks like a sitting area or something. Maybe it was a bedroom. Haunted gazing mirror. I'm not going to gaze into it just in case. But the old dolls are kind of creepy. Just a menacing clown in the background. You can tell it's a very old building, but again, they've turned it into kind of a museum. We'll go through. There's another doorway over here and take a look at what's there. Now there's an older telephone, for sure. Right there. The old crank on the side. And the ear set. And you speak into that. Mining equipment. See some bits there, kind of a shovel-headed bit. Looks like what they used to drop down in the mines for material and men to go down in the mine. It's always nice to find skeletons of old automobiles, and man, this is no slouch. Look at this one. That is truly the skeleton of an old vehicle. But look at that, that's the full body of it, just laying on the ground, rusting away. Constructed in 1890 to 1900. This was on the west incline. Looks like they moved it down here. And it looks like they would be able to forge steel and sharpen, deliver quickly down to the mine, all the sharpened tools and accessories they needed for the mining. And that is a big air compressor. Giant air compressor. And again, a tremendous amount. These look like old metal spools. There you go, more oil cans. This is the back part of the shop, like the storage room. There's so much to look at, so I can't show everything because it would be just the longest video ever. We'll go through the side door here, see what's out back. Furnace. And the hood, right above the furnace. I should say, it's a forge. And this is a drill sharpening machine. That looks like one heck of a machine to sharpen drills with. My gosh, it's giant. I don't know how much that weighs, but that is significant for sure. Lathe, that's for sure. I've seen those before, worked on wood lathes before. Not that size. Drill presses, grinders, 1917. It says this is a 1910 to 1920 drill press. Right there, as you've taught me before, everybody in the videos when we look at the mining towns, that's a head frame. And there's still an ore car on it right there as they used to pull them up. But of course it's a dead giveaway as well because it says it's a head frame right here. This was constructed between 1880 and 1890. And this was on the west incline, which would be one of the inclines out that direction is west on the hillside, and they brought it down here with a large chunk of cement with it. Look at the size of that pulley. To do it, blacksmith, you can see all the tools are still here. Donkeys or burros? Jack, Jenny, and Panito. Hope I said that right. They live right here. But this looks like where there was a head frame. And it's not lit up to see down in there, but you can see quite a ways. There's some lights down there. Let's see if you can see the lights going all the way down 170 feet. And the Nickel Rays mine shaft. Now this is the Wells Fargo post office. Now this was restored from rubble. It was a bank and a post office used for many things, but it was basically just rubble, and they restored it. But mostly known as a Wells Fargo office, and of course U.S. mail would come through here as well. See the old mail bags, some insulators. Look at that scale. They would balance it out, of course, with the weights on that hook right there. Hey, we did a video on Billy the Kid. He still has a $500 reward, dead or alive. So this giant building here is the assayers office. So the assay building was built in 1884. It's one of the most significant buildings on property. But again, the skeleton of an old vehicle. That looks like that might have been a space right back there for a rumble seat. Correct me if I'm wrong, but let me know in the comments. But trunks or rumble seats in that kind of a sedan? Now this is the smelting room. So what they would do is they would work around the clock, and what they would do is assess the quality of the ore right here in this building. So that way when they knew the quality of the ore, they knew what kind of a vein they were following, or if they were following the correct vein, because they wanted to get the best ore. So around the clock, as they poured those, or pulled the ore samples, the core samples out, they would know if in fact they were following a rich vein, so that way it was more productive.
Now, Vulture City and its gold and silver mines began in 1863, and it became the most productive gold mine in Arizona history. From 1863 to 1942, the mine produced 340,000 ounces of gold and 260,000 ounces of silver. And I was told that those pots that we're looking at right there were made out of human bones, that's the only thing that could withstand the heat of those furnaces. If anybody knows if that's true or not, let me know in the comments below, because that seems a little creepy.
You can see the furnace there. That's the original furnace. There's a lot more of those little pots right out in front of it. This building is, I don't know how to describe it, because it is amazing. The blockwork and rock, and it was still standing, but a lot of the wood was coming down, and they rebuilt that. This is probably one of the best old-time feeling buildings I've been in. Wow, it's just creaking in the wind too. Absolutely creaking and creepy. Comes in. This is the storage room. You can see the finish on the walls. The walls are so crooked, but they're more finished off with mud. You see the way the door construction is. Wow, this building is really old. So this is the bullion storage room, a vault underground. Gold and silver bars stored here before being shipped out. So this was like a giant safe, right? This had to be kept really safe. And at one point, I was told that they actually had the military came in here to protect it, because everybody was so greedy and corrupt about stealing the gold. And then they said the military was just as corrupt. When they came in, they stole it. I mean, you're going to protect all these gold bars, and it's got a huge vault with a dirt floor. I've heard rumors that the miners, right, it's a mining community, that miners dug through this floor and stole the gold and silver through the bottom of the vault. They literally mined in here and stole the gold. So right through this door from where they kept the gold and silver bars, this is where the guards slept. Okay, so through here is another door from outside. This is again where the guards, see the door we came in, we were looking through just a minute, it goes right over there. Fireplace. I don't think that meets code by today's standards. So through this hallway down here, there's some stairs, and that's where the guards would shower that worked here. And the stairs are off to the left. Of course, we can't go upstairs. Ooh, man. It's said that this place is haunted. I haven't felt anything yet. Weird, like people say. But if something taps me on the shoulder, there's nobody behind me. You see the office here? That is a very interesting statue. This here is the boarding house. And it says brothel on the front as well. I've heard stories about that on some other bits of information that I had, that this is haunted by a ghost of a past lady of the night, I don't know what you would call it, in the brothel of Mexican Rita. And here's the original license for prostitution, or copy of, I should say. Yep, that's not creepy. This is one of the rooms that are right off the boarding house. But it also says brothel in front, so not sure if this is one of the rooms that were used for that. Probably. Man. One old building. Okay, so now this is the doctor's office. And looks like the doctor not only practiced here, but lived here. Right next to the brothel. Literally a wall away from it. There's an old leather satchel back there. Looks like you could still use it. Look at that old doctor's table. That's stirrups on the side. Some tools for operating. I don't think I'd let somebody operate on me in a old dusty building. Of course, back then you probably didn't have a choice. Now this is the old hanging tree. Now many people were hung here. And they were saying that they even hung the sheriff here because he was corrupt. Now this tree was just high enough to be able to hang somebody. So they'd be on their tiptoes right here. By the time their toes got tired, they would end up hanging themselves. There's a lot of hanging trees you see that are a little bit taller, and they would do it different. It would snap their neck, but this one worked completely different. Wickenburg's house and hanging tree are made from this ironwood. This tree hung 18 men for stealing gold and ore. Please watch your step. I would say so, because if 18 people were hung here at this very location, that makes me a little uncomfortable. And this is the old bunkhouse right behind it, the Henry Wickenburg house. And the hanging trees you can see right there. And again, it's literally that close. Whew. Okay, 18 men. That is an amazing piece of iron. I believe that is Henry Wickenburg we just looked at in that photograph. And this is that old bunkhouse. Each one of them have a different type of wood stove. Some for heat, and all of them for cooking. You can cook on the top of a wood stove no matter what it's doing or what size it is. If it gets hot, you can put the old cast irons on there and boil or fry whatever you want. You can see up here, there's a placard that says this was Henry Wickenburg's first house in 1864, built right out front of the hanging tree. Look at this bunkhouse here. This is like some old West traditional bunkhouse like you see in the movies. I always like to look at the construction and how they were made. Be bunking up in the bunkhouse. Is that an old radio? Wow. Miner's clothing. I literally have that painting. We have the same painting at home. It's a very famous painting. I think that's the old Oregon Trail. That's what that is. When you first drive in, it doesn't look all that large, but there's a significant amount of buildings. Well, this is the old workshop. And out in front, looks like they're working on an old casket. See if that opens up. Oh yeah. Ooh, it's a creepy sound. Oh, there's another little box. It just keeps going.
We hope you enjoyed our adventure to Vulture City Ghost Town. And until our next adventure, goodbye from Weekend Escapades, and we'll see you in the next one.